Sam Logue here for irishboxing.com. Absolutely delighted to be joined by the California kid himself, RHYS MORAN, up in the Celtic Warrior gym today. RHYS, first of all, man, how's things? How you doing?
Not too bad, Sam. Not too bad. It's good to be chatting to you. It's good to be back up. Started camp today. Well, I've been training all along, but camp officially started today, so we're getting ready for a fight. I have a fight locked in now, so I can't really say where or when, but that's what we're getting ready for now. There's a couple of us getting active now in the gym again. 2022, I suppose it's busier already. Like we've Thomas Carty already on the Michael Conlon show. We've Eric next week fighting Ramirez. Ray Moylan has a fight locked in. Niall O'Connor. So we're all getting busy now, which is a great sign. Like because a lot of us fighters, especially in this gym, have been inactive over the last 2 years. Probably a little bit more inactive than what we wanted to be. But look, the pandemic hit, and look, we're here now. Everyone's smiling, everyone's happy, and everyone's working hard up here today. So it's good to be back.
Definitely. And does it make it even easier that you're in the gym surrounded by these kind of guys like Thomas Carty, big fight, like bit of a name at the moment, a rising name in Irish boxing, especially a heavyweight, you know, bringing that kind of heavyweight Eddie Hearn buzz to the gym, and Eric on a big top rank card, and even Niall being mentioned in a big fight with Jay Canny. Like, is there just a really big buzz in the gym at the moment, and does that have a big effect on you as you kind of get back in the gym and try to get motivated to train again and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, it's great. Look, Thomas Carty will always be a fat boy to me. I'm only messing. It's good. It is. Thomas is a good guy. He's great to learn off. But, you know, like I've travelled already with Thomas in the amateur scene, so like he is a good influence, and so was the rest of the lads. Ray Moylan, Spike, you know, Craig O'Brien, Niall Kennedy, who hasn't been up this year so far and has suffered with injuries and stuff. But all these lads have been on big platforms, but they've also been big influencers on me and anybody else who's been in the gym. So it's good. Like probably, I don't know if many people know, like I suffered a loss in my second fight, a fight that I should have won. I had a few issues going on in my own personal life, and physically and mentally I wasn't there. But look, I won't make excuses. I lost, and that was that. But when I lost, you know, everyone in this gym, including PASCAL, everybody stuck by my side. And when I was at my lowest point, everybody was there for me. You know, the messages flew in, the comments, the feedback I got off of lads. The lads were doing interviews, and they were great. Like, do you know what I mean? They kept mentioning me, saying that I had a lot more to give. You know, it was just an off night. You know, so it's great that I have those guys here. And like that, when I'm doing something wrong, it's not just PASCAL correcting me. You know what I mean? Somebody else might give me advice as well. So it's good, and it's like I said, we're getting active again. But when you look at our quality of fighters that we have here, like all of our fighters are fighting on Top Rank, Matchroom, Golden Boy shows. You know what I mean? Like, they're great shows to be on, great platforms. And I hope to follow suit now, get back to winning ways in this fight that I have in the pipeline, and get back and hopefully get on those cards with the guys as well. Do you know what I mean? Because I do feel like I do belong up there. I just had a bit of bad luck over the last 2 years. And like I said, I don't make excuses, but I'm back and focused and determined. So I'm ready to kick off again, you know.
And having those links with the likes of Golden Boy in America, and even Murphy's Boxing, PASCAL is very close to Ken Casey, who obviously has Murphy's Boxing there over kind of Boston way. And kind of these links to Eddie Hearn and Dylan White now through Thomas Carty, stuff like that. Is that kind of the links that you think, first of all, that you can take advantage of going forward, and that you that you see as kind of realistic opportunities now with the guys in the gym having those links?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Like, look, I think that I'm a good person, as in, like, I think I could sell myself, and that's what pro boxing's about. You know, you got to sell yourself. Like, Thomas is a big heavyweight, super heavyweight, probably one of the best super heavyweights coming out of Ireland, England at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And he's still constantly rising, and the platforms he's going to create for all of us, because I'm a big guy myself. I don't know where I'm going to land. I'm only 23. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be a super heavyweight or if I'm going to be a cruiserweight. I'm sitting at light heavy at the moment, you know, and I still think I have a lot of time to fill out as well. So if those opportunities and those doors open for me through the likes of Thomas or through America, like PASCAL is, like you said, has great ties with Murphy's Boxing. Yeah. Like, I'd love to get out to Boston. I think I'd really start a crowd. I think I'd perform well out there as well, you know what I mean? So, and this gym here, it's kind of based around American style, you know, so I think us as Irish fighters and what we bring different to the table here on this side of the pond is if we fight in England, we have an American style, you know what I mean? And the English fighters aren't really American they're not taught in an American kind of way, you know? So what you do notice when you do watch world title fights or guys that are going to travel in America, they're kind of lost a little bit, all the UK fighters. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of European fighters would struggle when they go to America because they're not used to that inside, gritty, get down to business, Mexican style fighting, you know? So Pascal, he had Goody Petronelli learned his trade through him, like, you know, so, and that was one of the best coaches around back then, you know, and his brother Steve taught him everything, do you know what I mean? So he's been around it all his life, and there's no one better to learn off Pascal. So, like, I think as a gym, as everything, I think I can exploit America, I can exploit England, and I think anybody in this gym can. We just need the opportunities, and I think now finally we're getting those opportunities, whereas before it was just Spike, you know, he was Murphy's boxing golden boy, and that was great. But like I said, now we're hitting Top Rank, we're hitting Dazn, we're hitting Matchroom, Sky, whatever it may be, we're on that platform. So it's good, you know, and I think I can get there. Really do.
Definitely. I'll tell you what, you're a talker anyway, so you'll be able to talk your way in if nothing else. No, brilliant, man. Come here, like, let's just kind of hit on the loss a little bit, because obviously it was kind of unexpected, and I suppose you would have been deemed a prospect, you know, and still are, to be fair. Like, you don't just lose that just because you get one loss, but 1-0 going in, and then you said you had a few things going on, but can you kind of reflect on that fight for me, on the loss? You know, was it maybe a matchup that was perhaps maybe a little bit too difficult for the time that you took it in, just all things considered, you know, COVID, perhaps training, you know, personal things going on in your life? Was it like a little bit too difficult of a matchup at that stage, or was it just down to performance? Or when you look back at it now, how do you reflect on that whole situation?
Well, I don't like to look back on it, but look, I have, and I've looked back at it 100 times, you know. What I find is Pascal has a lot of faith in me, and I think, you know, he thinks that I'm durable, and he thinks that I'm good enough to be the best in my weight division, and I think I believe that too, you know. So I don't think there was too much of a mismatch. Do I believe he was there to win 100%? He didn't lay off. If you watch the fight, you know, he was there. He was trying to take my head off in there, you know. He was no journeyman opposition. So, like, a loss is a loss at the end of the day. I'm not going to define it. I have no pressure anymore. I don't have to keep an O, so, which is another great thing. I probably the best outcome I came out of it brought me down to ground, and the few issues I did have and the problems that I was going through, it actually made me talk about them. I wasn't talking about it, and that's what happened. I bottled it all up, and I came home from that trip and I talked to Pascal, I talked to my parents, and we sat down. I took a couple of weeks out, got myself sorted, and like that, I've been a better version of me. It's probably been the best version of me that I've been in a couple of years. Before, like, I think I haven't felt like that since I said to myself I was going to turn pro, you know. So like I said, I got those little issues that needed to be sorted, and that fight made me realise that loss made me realise that. If I didn't have that, I don't know where I would have been today. So, like, it's good. Like, a loss can define you, do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Pascal, the first thing Pascal said to me is, we're back to the gym, and we're going to get you a couple of fights, you're going to come back and you're going to beat that guy. He said, you're not going to beat him, we're going to stop, we're going to put him away. And I believe that. I believe I could put him away. That guy hadn't seen me fight, do you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't me. It was a half of me that was in that ring that evening. And I took some big shots, so there's a lot of advantage to that fight, do you know what I mean? I showed that I had a chin, I could take punches. I fought when I had to fight. I probably dug deep, do you know what I mean? And all those things that a lot of fighters wouldn't show with 8 or 9 fights in. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can get brought along and have fight lads that have 100 losses all the way through, and you hit 8 or 9 fights and you get put on a big stage, you get given an opportunity, you get caught with one proper shot and they're down on the canvas. And they're probably in a worse position than me then at that point. So, like, right now, I have nothing to prove to anybody. I'm boxing because I enjoy boxing. I box because I want to fight. So I'm back in the gym. I've been back in the gym since day one. Since that fight, like I said, I took some time out. but I was back, and I was back better than ever. So now I'm ready to kick on with my career. So I don't see me losing again, and not for a very, very long time, if any time from here on in. Do you know what I mean? 2022, 2023, I'd like to start picking up a Celtic title, an Irish title, do you know what I mean, and start kicking on. Do you know, I don't want to be one of these fighters that have 8 or 9 or 10, 15 fights, fighting nobodies like that. I'd like to get a couple of wins back under my belt, then get an 8 or a 10 rounder, get a Celtic title, Irish title fight, whatever, whoever's in Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, whatever it is for the Celtic title, and get going again, do you know what I mean? And I just want to bring myself on, do you know what I mean? I'm here to box, I'm not here for money would be great, but I'm here, I'd love belts on my side, do you know what I mean? That's it, that's what, like, since I started young, I've always wanted a belt around my waist. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
So with that in mind, you obviously have on the Gary Hyde show coming up, there's some good Irish fighters around your weight class. I mean, I think it's you're probably one of the names that is knocking around, but maybe hasn't been mentioned as much, with the likes of Robbie Burke, Kevin Cronin, Jamie Morrissey. But those guys are floating around talking about Irish titles, Celtic titles. Is that a bunch of lads you want to be mixed in with and thrown in with?
Of course. Look, all those lads are eager, just as I am, you know, and they're all good lads. You know, I've been on trips with some of them as well through the amateur background, and I've been away with a few of them, boxed in competitions with a few of them. Never fought any of them or sparred any of them, but they're all good guys, you know, and they're all probably on the same mission that I am. I don't know much about Jamie Morrissey, but what I did take from one of his interviews, I clicked in on it, and I was actually really impressed. And it's something you don't really hear anymore, is that he's there to fight. You know what I mean? He's not there to protect the record, which is great to hear. You know what I mean? Like, what was it? That was his second fight he fought Robbie Burke in. Do you know what I mean? In an all clash, and which was great. And Robbie to do the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's only 4 or 5 fights in, if I'm sure. Do you know what I mean? Or 3 even. And then Kevin Cronin, I think he's dropping down to super middle. But if he's around as well, like, I don't understand why we don't do like a last man standing tournament.
That'd be class.
It'd be brilliant. Do you know what I mean? So you'd have Kevin Cronin, you'd have Robbie Burke, you'd have Jamie Morrissey, you'd have myself. I think there's John
Carpenter.
Yeah, John Carpenter would be there, and you'd have probably Thomas O'Toole. And Tommy Hyde has turned over now. I don't know if he's going cruiserweight, if he's going light heavy as well. But there's a big mix of lads that you could throw on a show with, and you could do something similar then with the middleweights in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? And if we done it for an All Ireland title fight, do you know, it'd be great. So there are things that we can look forward to, and I think the days of journeymen are starting to move on now. Do you know? And I think Robbie Burke and Jamie Morrissey kind of made that clear. When they said we need to start fighting, we need to get active, and that's what we need to be. We need to be active fighters, and I think it looks a lot better on your CV if you fought unbeaten fighters, active fighters, lads that are 4-1 or 3-1 or 10-1. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you're down on BoxRec and you're fighting lads with 100 losses, and you're 17-1 or you're 15-1 or 20-1. Do you know what I mean? So look, I think all the lads have the same mindset as myself, which is great. So there are opportunities for fights, and I'm sure that we can arrange something in the future. But like I said, I have a fight locked in now, get a few wins under my belt, and then like that start pushing for titles then. And like that, if any of the lads are up for a Celtic or an Irish title in the next year or 2 years, I'm ready, you know.
I'm going to ask you to do something controversial here. I want you to rate your top 5 light heavyweights in Ireland, including yourself and all the names that we just mentioned.
Well, look, I'm not being cocky and not being confident, but I do think I'm the best light heavy out there, you know. Tommy Hyde, I would rate Tommy, do you know what I mean? Like, me and Tommy have fought before. I think he's a great guy. It would be Thomas O'Toole then as well. That's 3. I'd say Robbie Burke and then Jamie Morrissey. So I liked what I seen with Jamie. You know, he has a bit of grit and determination. Like I said, I haven't seen much of him or heard of him because he was a Thai boxer or Muay Thai. But I think that he's a good guy. I think he has something about him, you know, and he's been working with Paddy Donovan and the Donovans down in Limerick. So that's good quality training. He wants to learn. You can see it, and like I said, he wants to fight. So if you have that that's where it's at. You know what I mean? So yeah, that would be it. Then I'd say then it'll be the other guys then after that.
Brilliant. Well, RHYS, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing some news on your next fight. We have an idea, but we can't say anything yet, but hopefully it gets announced soon. And yeah, is there anything you want to say? Do you want to shout out maybe you've some apparel there? Do you want to shout out any sponsors? Anything you want to say before we go?
Look, a friend of mine actually makes all my gear for me. So like he makes all this kind of gear. I have t-shirts, anything he wants, hats. You can have coffee mugs, whatever, socks, anything. He can make anything, but he's just have to open up a shop. So I give him a quick shout out. One Stop Print in Waterford. He makes gear bags and everything. So any fighters that are looking for any stuff done, he's very reasonably priced as well, and he can pretty much do anything. And to all my other sponsors, I work for Mattress Mix, so Mattress Mix have been very good to me as well, especially with training coming up and down to Dublin. They give me the use of their van, give me time off, and getting me ready for fights as well, with sponsorship as well. So I have huge sponsors, everybody down in Waterford, Mother and Father, PASCAL Collins, and all the rest. So I'm delighted. And look, the lads at home as well, actually, geez, I'd be killed if I didn't say anything. The lads in my boxing gym in St. Michael's, the lads have been helping me the last little while with sparring and training, pads and stuff when I'm not up here. So like I said, I have a solid base at home now. I'm training up in the boxing club 4 nights of the week, up here twice a week, and then my running and stuff in between. So I have a good team around me now, so I'm going to push on now. So 22, let's get it. Okay.
RHYS Moran, thank you very much for talking to IrishBoxing.com.